record on this computer. Let's first look at our assignment. Okay, I'm going to peek at the chat really quick. Okay, all good, awesome. All right, so we're gonna peek at our assignment first. So as we're in module number 3, the assignment is at the bottom here. This is the chapter 5 drawings. So these are the AutoCAD things that we're doing. Okay, so when we get in here, we looked at this briefly before. We already did the locator tutorial, and you should be ready if you would. That one's ready for you to hand in if you followed along. It is important to make sure that you're doing the items that I talked about, because I am going to be looking for those when you upload your AutoCAD file. So this is a AutoCAD file upload for me again, okay, not screenshots. So we're gonna start looking at some of these exercises at the end of our chapter. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to simply go underneath, and we're going to open up, and I really don't care which one we would start with, but does anybody have a preference of where we want to start? So we'll just briefly look at, we first have the saddle bracket, okay? 3 views, right? Top, right, or left side, you know, whichever one makes the most sense. We've got the anchor base, got a bearing base, shaft support, turn the page. There's a lot. This one looks good. Connecting rod. Oh, interesting. We've got a tube hanger. We've got a tube spacer, and we've got a slider. All right. So I'm going to start. Are there any preferences? Does anybody want to see 1 or 2 on this page? Let's do, oh, Noble already is like, let's jump to the connecting rod. Should we jump to the connecting rod? We're going to learn a lot on that one. Does anybody have any opposition on the connecting rod? All right. We're just going to get there right away. All right. Let's do the connecting rod. You don't have to, but since we're all together, why don't we do a little bit of a sketch? It's not required to upload a sketch. It's not required for you to do that as part of the assignment, but let's take 3 minutes to get our thoughts down. What we think this should look like. Front, top, and I'm going to say right side view. So I'm going to say front view is going to be looking this way, top view coming down, and right side view. Remember, we pick our front view based on the major shape of the part. So when we look here, the major shape of the part is going to be looking this way. And it's always going to have the longest dimension in it. So horizontally, that's going to be our longest dimension. Then we're going to look top on it, and then right side. So go ahead and get your thoughts down. It's good. It will be easier when you get to do it 3D. It will in parametric solid modeling. Oh, I wish I had a circle template, because what was that? Yeah, yeah, it is. You guys have it.
Second. I think I have that second semester.
Second semester?
Second term, yeah.
It's going to be using Creo. You're going to love it. Yeah, like a gaming computer is like what people use. this also, when you're sketching this out, can bring up questions on the construction and the geometry. So for instance, if you're doing this out in industry, by sketching it out, it gives you that opportunity to maybe check with people like, is this what you really want? Or is this how would we do this? Like, does this make sense? You know, before you even really start doing the stuff.
You meant to assume that the thickness that like the circle with that
Yeah.
is also 1.5 like that.
Yes.
How do you scale the like in the center line?
Just do it's, if you want to do it individually, you would click on the line prop and you would right click and go down to properties. LT scale is overall. Yep, LT scale. It's gonna go up. And this is gonna come. And yeah, I feel like I can't put that. Even mine, I don't, again, this is a sketch. Because my perspective, I know, it's not looking the way I know it should. As it's coming together. Okay. Yeah. Mhm. It's the same. Okay. Yeah, even I'm a little, I struggled a little with my top view. I'm gonna kind of show it like this, but it'll look better, and perspective wise, it'll be on point when we do our drawing. This width is too thick, but when I had this already drawn, it needed to come together. So this kind of goes like that. That's the width of this. This is out further on either end. I like my front and my right side views are better. But it's good. Even if you can't get every single bit down, it's okay. Because as we do it in CAD, the construction actually becomes easier, as you can probably imagine. You don't have to visualize every single bit. So with that, why don't we start kind of looking? So again, sketching as a little bit of a plan to kind of figure out, like, you know, what it's gonna kind of look like. And then even if there's still some, oh, I'm not exactly sure if that's right or not. I know erasing looks. Something like that. It's not in the middle. Sketch, people, sketch. All right, let's take a look back at the part and devise a plan. So as we are looking, as I said earlier, front view is where we're going to start. We want to start there. It's going to be the major shape of the part for us. And it's going to be where we can get, you know, a chunk of that construction in place. So we're going to start exactly there. We're going to start with our front view. And I'm going to start by drawing my circles on either end, 6.5. And then on the other end too. And then we're going to put the handle in the middle. I am going to start with my lower left-hand corner here at 0, 0 on my screen. Okay. So you can do that. It doesn't have to be, but it's always nice, I think, to have a 0, 0, especially when the possibility of a part being made with another type of a machine is there. I have my old drawing up, so I'm just going to do one more file save on it just to be sure I don't lose anything. And then I'm going to start new. So I'm going to go to start new. It's going to go to this little screen right here. And you want to go over to the third one. That's where our templates are. And you may have to navigate to it. As I said earlier, browse to that template, but mine is here because it's locally loaded. And I'm going to say, okay. So now as I look, move this up here, I'm going to have all of my layers and stuff in place here, which is what I want. Okay. So now that I'm here, I'm going to start. I'm actually not going to start with my construction lines. Not going to lie, because I'm going to just start with my circles, okay, which don't really need construction. So I'm going to go to my circles here. I'm going to start with a diameter of 1 inch, diameter of 1 1/4, and it's going to be on that left-hand side. And I'm going to put them right at the 0, 0. So center diameter, my center point is going to be 0, 0. And I'm going to do a 1 inch diameter. Then I'm going to hit enter. Going to go back to 0, 0, or you can select the center because they share the same center. And then this is going to be 1.25. Whoa. Did I do? Look at. I don't know which one's the wrong one. Hold on. I'm just gonna diameter this. Oh. I thought I hit one. I must have hit 2.5. We'll get rid of that one. Let me try it again. Center diameter 0, 0. And my diameter is going to be 1.25. There we go. I said I must have keyed in something not quite right. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to place the other two circles for right now. It's going to be the radius of 1 1/4 and radius of 1, 6.5 inches to the right. So I'm going to go circle, center radius. And since I placed it at absolute 0, I can just put coordinates directly in. This is going to be 6.5, 0. And now that's going to be the center of my first circle. The radius is going to be 1 inch. Then I'm going to do another one, center radius. I can grab that center now. If I get close to it, it should grab that center rather than keying in the coordinates. And it's going to be 1.25 as my radius here. Okay. Now, wouldn't it be a bad idea to put a construction line in because we will be offsetting some things. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a construction line in as construction line in going through the center of my circles. Okay. Because then I'm going to have the ability to do some offsetting from that center. Okay. Now I don't have currently my line widths on, and I kind of like that. So I'm going to go back down here and I'm just going to click on line width. So then I can see which ones are my object lines and then which ones are my construction lines. They kind of are more bold. All right, let's look back. Let's go back underneath here. So we've got circles, right? We've got circles here. We've got our circles there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the handle in between. Okay, just as a straight for right now. And then we'll add some of those curves or those fillets. So right now I'm going to offset this construction line and we'll notice that the height there is 3/4 of an inch. So in either direction, 0.375. So I'm going to do an offset 0.375, oopsie, 375. And I'm going to select and go up with it. And then I'm going to reselect the same line and go down and click. Okay. And now I'm going to go back to my object line layer. And I'm going to do a line. I'm going to find that intersection on the outside between each one of these. I know there's going to be a radius. We'll deal with the radius in a little bit, but we're just getting the handle in place right now. Okay. Now, on the left-hand side, this radius of 1/2, it's going to be the radius on the top and on the bottom. Those are going to be regular fillets. Okay. And don't do it just yet. We're going to experiment with that. And then over here, this is not a fillet. Okay. This is actually something that we have to kind of create and then push where it needs to go. I'll show you how to do that. So this is not a fillet. The 2 inch is not a fillet, but the left-hand side is, the 1/2 is. So let's go to our fillet command. Okay. Let's go to our fillet command. And we're going to just do it like we normally would. So we're going to put the radius in first, because remember, we have to specify the radius first. Otherwise it's going to be 0 when we come in. And our radius is 0.5. Okay. So I'm going to click on my line and I'm going to click on my radius. Okay. And if you zoom in, you're going to see what happened. Okay. It didn't trim it away. And it's because the circle is a continuous all the way around. It's like, where do I trim to? Right. So we have to do a trim on this. So if you're zoomed out a little too far, you're not going to see that line. So just be careful. I want to just bring that to your attention. So I'm going to do another fillet. It's the same radius, so I don't have to reset it. I'm just going to go here and here. But now I'm going to do that trim right away so I don't forget about it. Okay. So we just want to do that internal part there and there. Okay. And now it's the official. And we do see the circle here because you'll notice that that circle protrudes forward. So it is a full circle and this just is back. So we just want to see how it fillets into the top or the side of that circle. Okay. All right. Let's peek at this part. Okay. So first of all, we're going to have a radius of 2. All right, a radius of 2, and it's going to be tangent down here at its quadrant, okay, to the top of our handle, okay, or the portion in between. It's really not a handle. Then what we need to do is you'll notice that we have a point right here, okay, it's fully defined for us. So you'll notice that it's 3/4 inch back, and it gives us from this center, 3/4, it's 3 inches up. So it's 1/2 from this center here, but then this point is down 1/4 of an inch. Are you guys kind of following that? So the 3 dimensions we're going to be looking at are the 3, which is going to be half of it up to that center. We're going to be taking the 3/4 and then down from that center, it's 3/4 or 1/4 of an inch. Okay. So these 3 dimensions right here bring us that corner, right? So we need to get that in place. We need to get that in place. So let's do that. Let's go back over here. Okay. And we're going to kind of use our construction lines. Okay. So we need to get this kind of cut off. All right. So what we're going to do is using our object lines, we're going to add a line here. And I want to get the quadrant at the top of each one of those circles and cut this off. So to do that, I need to do Shift right mouse button because I don't have it set on my object snaps, or I can go over to my little toolbar and I'm going to go to quadrant. Quadrant is that point at the very top of a circle. So I'm going to grab there and then I'm going to do the same thing, Shift right mouse button and go to quadrant of the next one. If you do perpendicular, I don't know if it's gonna grab it or not. That's like iffy. So quadrant to quadrant and then hit escape and we've got that line in place. Do the same thing at the bottom because we're gonna then trim off that other part in between. So line, quadrant, quadrant. And then we're gonna trim that away. Trim, oh, it's between the construction lines it trims, that's okay, it's extra clicks. Okay, all right. So we have that. And then I'm going to create a construction line through that front face. Construction line. And we're going to go down to here. Construction line from here down to here. Just on that front face because I'm going to need to offset. And I want to have that to infinity line type of a thing. All right. Now let's go back to our drawing. So I've got this front face represented, right? And what I want to do is I want to offset this back 3/4 of an inch to get where it's going to start from. So go back to AutoCAD here and we're going to do an offset and it's going to be 0.75. And we're going to go from that construction line we just created back. Okay. Now we are going to find that point. We're going to get to that 0.25 down. So we know that these two holes right here are 3 inches apart. So from our center, it's 1.5 up to that center. And then from that 1.5, we're going to go down 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to offset once up 1.5, and then we're going to offset that line down 1/4 of an inch. Okay. And these are our construction lines right here. So we're going to go to the offset command. Okay. And our first offset is going to be 1.5. And then we're going to select the middle line and go up. Okay. And then enter. That's to the 1.5 going up. Now we're at that center. We have to come down 1/4 of an inch. So now we're going to offset again. And our distance is going to be 0.25. Select that line we just created and go down. Now right here, that intersection right there is that. Okay. Is that point. So I'm going to let you guys go. Anybody have any questions here? So I need that intersection right there. That one. Okay. So now let's draw a circle on our object line. Go back to the object layer. We're going to draw a circle with a radius of 2 inches randomly in space. Okay, randomly. So we're going to go like this, center radius. I'm going to go right here is my center. I don't care where my center is. And my radius is going to be 2 inches. So it's just randomly there. Okay. Now I'm going to move this twice. I'm going to move it once up to sit on my inner part. It's not a handle. It kind of looks like a handle, but it's not a handle. So we're going to move that once there. So I'm going to move. So I'm going to click the move command. I'm going to select my circle. Okay. And I'm going to hit enter because I could continue to select more items if I wanted to, but I'm going to hit enter because I just want that one. Now, base point. Base point is going to be the quadrant at the bottom of this circle. So I'm going to do Shift right mouse button, quadrant, and I'm going to go right there, quadrant. And now I have the ability to move it. And I just want to move it to that line right there. So going perpendicular to it is totally fine. Or if you're not getting anything, Shift right mouse button and go to nearest. And then just go nearest to it and then click when it's there. So nearest or perpendicular if you have that activated. And now it's sitting on there. Now we've got to move it over. Do you see what we're going to do? So we're going to say move. And we're going to find, or we have to select our circle again, enter. Now, do you see how that construction line is intersecting with the side of my circle? Right there. That's my base position. From there, And then I'm going to go over to the other intersection. I'm going to go shift, right mouse button, make sure I grab the intersection. Oh, not insert, shoots, hold on. Move, select, enter, shift right mouse button, intersection. I just want to make sure I'm on that intersection, and I'm going to shift right mouse button, intersection again. There it is. I'm where I need to be. I'm not done. Okay. Let's look back. Yeah.
How do you get it to snap to the right on first?
Let me undo it again. So let's undo, undo, undo. There we go. So we're going to do move, circle, select it, enter. And then I'm going to do, I want to get this quadrant. So you can either go over here underneath the circle, or if you do shift right mouse button, quadrant, it's down below geometric center. And now I'm going to click on that quadrant, and I'm going to go straight up to that line. Perpendicular probably works, but I'm going to do nearest just to be sure I'm on that line. There it is. And then now I'm going to do that same thing, move, circle, enter, find the intersection of my construction line here, and then the intersection again there. Okay. All right, so now let's go back. Got our circle in place. So now we're going to draw this top part here. Okay, so when we're looking at this side right here, this is going to protrude straight up. So the height of it is going to be 3 inches to that center, but then we got to look down here. The radius to the top is another 1/4 of an inch. So this is going to be an offset of, it was that 1.5, but now it's going to be another 1/4 on top to create the dome, okay, or the half circle. So we're going to go back over here. And this was to the center. This construction line I created was to the center, the 1.5. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to do another offset. And it's going to be 0.25. Oh, it was 0.25. Good. So I'm going to click that top one and go up. Okay. And then if you look, the depth of that very same feature is 1/2 of an inch. That's right here. Remember, I went 3/4 back to my point, but this is just going to 1/2 an inch back. So now I'm going to go 0.5 back from that front face. So another offset, 0.5 this time. And now I'm going to click on that front and go backwards. All right. Now let's kind of shape this up. We're still on our object line. So we're going to go line. I'm going to zoom in here. And I'm first going to create from that intersection right here that I had, that's my point. I'm going to go forward to the 1.5 inch line right there. Okay. And I'm going to stop because you'll notice that I intersect up here and I can't go straight up and find that intersection just yet. So I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to trim away this part of the circle that I don't need. I want it out of there before I finish the construction from that line. Okay. See, there's a little gap there. We don't want that in there. Okay, so make sure you get that away. Now I'm going to have to trim more away, but I just want to finish this top part right here. So I'm just going to go to line from there to there to there, and then down to the front. There it is. Okay. Everybody follow that. Any questions on that at all? I'm going to trim away the rest of my little line, or my circle, I should say. Go here, here. Yeah, it's going to trim in between each one of those construction lines, which is a little annoying. And then I'm going to zoom in here and I can get rid of that line right there. It's not bad. Is it better than you thought? That's probably the part that students are like, oh, how do we get that in there? All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the side view of my holes in here, right? I'm going to see the holes in there as going this way. And I'm going to go down to hidden. Okay. And the holes themselves, if we look, they're a diameter of 1/8 of an inch. So off center here, it's going to be an 1/8 inch up. Wait, I'm sorry. It's going to be Yeah, it's a 1/4 inch diameter. So an 1/8 inch up and 1/8 inch down. So I'm gonna do another offset. I'm gonna go 0.125 and an 1/8 of an inch up and an 1/8 of an inch down. Okay. And now my hidden lines are gonna go from this intersection to there. Enter, do again, enter, intersection to intersection. Okay. And then lastly, I'm going to add the center line right away, just because I'm going to do then from that top, I'm going to do a mirror down and then I'm done. I don't have to go back and revisit it. Okay. So let's change our line type to center. And we're going to go to the annotate tab on the top. And we're going to go to center line. And then I'm going to click, and it'll put it in for me automatically. And you'll notice we don't see anything. That's okay. That's all right. Any questions there? So now I have my center line in place. So I'm going to use that LT scale to just change, because both of them are kind of big, right? Both of them are kind of big. So let's type in our command line. Okay. LT scale, line type scale, enter. And I'm going to say 1/2 inch, 0.5, enter. And notice that they both change at the same time. They both look better. And now we can see the space on that center line. All right. Sometimes you may not want them to go together, but in this case, they look pretty good. They look pretty good. Okay. Probably a good idea to do a save on here, right? File, save as, navigate to where you want to go. I'll just go right here. This is the ConnectingRod. Okay. Let's give it a save because we don't want to redo that if we don't have to. All right, cool. So now we're going to mirror this down. Yes, Christian. So if you remember, we had this 1.5 inch line here up to the center of that hole. So now I just did an offset of an 1/8 of an inch up and an 1/8 of an inch down. All right. So now I'm going to take these items right here. I'm going to select them and we're going to mirror them. So I'm going to go back to my home menu. I'm going to select the mirror command, mirror. And now it's going to say, select the objects you want to mirror. So I'm going to zoom in here and I'm going to select that front, my hidden, center, hidden, the top, the back, my shelf, and my radius. Those are the ones that I want to mirror. Okay. Once I have those selected, I just hit enter. Okay, they're still selected. And now they want to know, what's my first mirror point? My mirror point is going to be the center here. So I have a construction here on the center, right? So anywhere on that line I can select. I'm going to select, and then I'm going to move horizontally, whether it's left or right, does not matter. And then I'm going to click again along that line. Now it's going to ask me, do I want to erase my source? And I don't. I want to leave the top and I'm adding the bottom as a mirror. So its default says no. Enter. Oh, what the heck? Try it again. No, mirror. I'm going to just select these guys, my radius, enter, my base position, mirror. Select my objects, enter, base position, second position. Maybe I have to do nearest. I'll do that. Nearest. No. Enter. Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know. I think I had to do nearest. You just have to make a horizontal line is what it is. Now I need to just trim back that little spot right there. And now pretty darn close to almost being done on my front view. Who's having fun? This is kind of fun, isn't it? So now that we have that, how do you feel about that? Any questions at all? Do you feel like I can like run with this from this point forward? I was only wondering about that area. Or is it like, no, keep going. You want me to keep going or you want to work independently? Keep going. Who wants me to keep going? All right, we'll keep going. All right. Take a peek back. Putting in that slot isn't too bad. We're gonna bypass that. That would finish off our front view, but we're gonna look at how about the right side view? Let's look at the right side view, what that's gonna look like. So, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna create in line this portion here, all right, and that portion down at the bottom. We're gonna do those parts first, kind of the visible lines first, and then we'll add in the hidden. So let's go back to AutoCAD. And I'm just gonna kind of slightly go in this direction over here to pan over. And I've got, some elements in place already. So I'm gonna add a construction line going down the middle. So I'm gonna go to my construction line layer. I'm gonna be on the underneath here for a construction line, and I'm just gonna make a vertical line right there. That's it. Okay. And now what we're gonna do is along there, I'm gonna add my radiuses at the top here first. So I'm going to go back to my object line layer. We're going to go to circle diameter, and right in the middle here, see where my center line is across? Right in the middle here at that intersection, I'm going to click one intersection, make sure I get the intersection. And then this is going to be a diameter of 0.25. There we go. Okay. I'm going to zoom in. And then the next one I'm going to do is going to be a center radius, and I'm going to go right to that center. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to click on, do you see how I'm going to go to the intersection up here and it'll automatically snap to it? You can do it that way too. You don't have to always key in the radius if it's already constructed for us. And that's going to be that half circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of, just so we can see it, I'm going to get rid of the bottom half of that outside circle, because that's kind of the arc over the top, or the arch. Now let's draw the width part here. Let's go back to our drawing here. So the width of this area right here, got to find where that is. I thought it, yep, there it is. It's 1 inch. Okay, that width is 1 inch and it's evenly spaced on either side. So let's get that in place. Okay, so I'm going to take this center and I'm going to offset 1/2 inch on either side to get my total of 1 inch wide. So offset 0.5. I'm going to select that vertical line and go to the left, reselect it because it's still 1/2 inch, and I'm going to go to the right. Okay. Now, you'll notice that we also have an edge here that we need to come across yet. Now, if you want a construction line that, we can. So we can go back to, actually, I can do an offset. So if I do an offset straight down here, this is going to be from that edge right there straight down, which is going to be the wall thickness. So if I go from 1 inch, so it's going to be 1/4 of an inch down. So 0.25 is my distance, and I'm going to go from here down, and then that'll be that same width. Now I can go around and I can start here, 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 and there. Okay. Now I can take my line command. I can go from the edge of my and perpendicular down from the edge of my arc over the top, and then connect it over here. And then do the same thing on the other side. Go from here, perpendicular down and over. So make sure you've got ortho on, or at least your perpendiculars, because those have to be straight lines. Okay. Questions? You're doing okay? All right. Now you'll notice that inline right here is that little ledge right in the background. So that is an actual hidden line that's going across right here. So let's go to our hidden line layer and add that line in between, right here to right here. Notice that it's now the thinner line because we changed the line type scale for all of the lines now. And it's going forward, it's going to be that same 1/2 inch or half scale. All right, so now we have that top part in place. We're going to now mirror that over the bottom. okay, or over the center line. So we're going to use our mirror command again. And this time, let's do a window. Remember, a window, when we want it to be, the box has to be a click, release, and a click. Don't click and drag because you'll get that weird business. So click and click. That way I can get it all inside of my window. It grabbed, it said 10 items found, and I'm just going to hit enter. Okay. And now it wants to know, okay, where's my mirror line? So I'm going to start down here on that construction line, but then I have to do a shift right mouse button nearest along that same one so that grabs a point. And we do not want to erase, so we can just hit enter here. And now we have it mirrored. Now, those aren't floating in space, right? So when we look down it, we want to go back to our object line layer, and we want to connect the lines from that endpoint to that endpoint, okay? And then the line from that endpoint to that endpoint. All right. It's like looking official. Probably a good idea to do a save, right? File, save. Okay. Any questions right now? Okay, cool. We could put center lines in. I'm gonna wait. I like to wait for center lines till the very end, just as a thing. Huh? Yes, Christian.
One thing, but your hidden lines is a lot more dashed than ours.
Right. So if you didn't change the line type scale when I did, then they will. So let's do it now again. So you're gonna go down to the command line and put in LT scale, enter, and you're gonna put in 0.5, enter. Are yours more dashed now? All right, cool. All right. So now we want to finish up. Now, the next thing we're going to do, visible line wise, going from that end, we're good. Okay, we're good. So these are the edges that we're going to see. But as we look through here, there's this stuff in the background, right? There's that stuff in the background. So we've got to put some hidden lines, more hidden lines in place. And that's going to represent kind of the width of the items that we have here. Okay. So we're going to notice that the width here of that bar in between is a 1/2 inch, and that's going to be evenly spaced on either side. And then we also remember that it's 3/4 of an inch thick. So that's going to be up 3/8 and 3/8, which is already in place for us. Then we also are going to have the back tube over here. The top and the bottom of the tube are going to be their radiuses off that center. And then their width, we don't have a number on the back side there. So we have to assume it's the same width of 1 inch as the front is. Okay. So we're going to put those elements in place. Okay. All right. So you'll notice here that we have this width here, but then to get the width down the center, it's a 1/2 inch wide. We need to offset 0.25 in both directions. It's mine set at 0.25 already, so I can just hit enter. And I'm going to grab that middle line, go to the right, middle line, go to the left. Okay. And now notice that these lines right here line up with the height. So I'm going to simply put a hidden line rectangle right where I have that outside. So I'm going to go to hidden lines, and I'm going to go line, intersection, 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 intersection. There we go. Then the next ones that we need to do are going to be the hidden lines for the inside diameter of that hole that goes through, and then the outside diameter of the circular portion at the end, the tube at the end. And those are going to be the same width as our front is here. So in this case, we are going to run hidden lines that are going to be a little bit higher than this, but the entire width. So we just have to look back at the dimensions back here. So that inside radius is 1 inch. So it's going to be, or diameter, I'm sorry. So it's going to be a 1/2 inch down from the center and a 1/2 inch up for that inside. And then the outside diameter is 1 1/4. So it'll be 5/8 or 0.625 offset in both directions. Okay. So I'm going to go back to offset, and I'm first going to do my 1/2 inch, 0.5. And I'm going to go from my center up and my center down. Okay. And then I'm going to do the offset one more time, 0.625. And from that center again, up and down. Okay. So now as I look here, this line going across is going to be hidden. So from here to here, enter, enter, here to here, enter, enter, and the bottom. There we go. Questions? Any? Now, let's add that the slot in the middle here, that little recess, because it's going to be on either side here. Okay. Or oh, it just says one side, doesn't it? Gosh, everything else is, I'm going to assume that's on both sides. You know what I mean? That indent on both sides, just because of the nature of the whole part seems to be symmetrical anyway. So I'm going to assume that on the back side, we also have that indent. So, so what we're going to do is we're going to place this, we're going to go back to our object lines. And as we look at that slot, it's a 1/2 inch high. So it's going to be a 1/4 inch up, a 1/4 inch down. So we'll do our offsets for that. See how offset has now become our new best friend? Okay. And then the radius is on the end. Since that's a 1/2 inch wide, those radiuses are going to be a 1/4 of an inch. We need to place those. Okay, we need to place those because you'll notice that from the center of that 2 inch radius, it's 3 inches over. So the center here shares the same center as that 2 inch. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's just 2 inches over. It's not the same 2 inch radius. It's the 2 inches over from the front. So we're going to offset from the front 2 inches. It's good. And then we're going to go 3 inches in between. Sorry. So offset. And this is going to be 2 inches to start from the very front face here, back. And then enter, offset again. Our new distance is 3 inches from that center to the left. Okay. So now zooming in, I'm going to do a center radius circle. I'm on my object line. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to start at that intersection and then go to the intersection. And it's going to be the right size because I have it separated to the right distance. Do the same thing over here on this center to that, the endpoint. And then now with lines, I can simply connect there, enter to start again. Here we go. And then trim away the parts we don't want. Okay. Now, those lines are in line over on our right side view. Do you see that? So here is that top edge. So how deep that is, it's 1/8 of an inch. Guess what we're going to use? Offset. 0.125 from the front in and from the back in. So now we got to go to our hidden lines because this is going to be a hidden feature. Line, click, click, these little indents right here. And then line again, intersection, down, down. Now, if you end up going over the top of lines, you're all of a sudden going to see these lines look like they're all one. And that's because you have more than one line on top of another. So make sure that you're not doing that. So I'll kind of go in here again so you can see. I'll let you catch up. Any questions at all? Who's right with me so far? Okay, good. If you're ignoring me, that's okay too. Or if you're just following along and watching, that's good too. 1/8 of an inch in. Yep. So we have pretty much our front and our right sides done. Now we just need to do the top. Are we finishing or are you like, no, I'm good. I can keep going. Who wants to keep going with me or work on your own? Who wants me to keep going? Raise your hand. Might as well. Noble's like, yeah, we're this far. Okay, let's keep going. All right, now we're ready for our top view. So that's going to go directly up here. So I'm going to add a couple construction lines so that I have one going vertically up this way. Okay. Center line, there we go. All right. And I've got those vertically going up. These are going up. So I think we're pretty good. Okay, so let's start back here on the tube side. So the tube itself, we know is the same width, it's 1 inch, and then we need to have, you know, on either side. So this is going to come up. So I'm going to do my construction lines again, because I can't grab quadrants if I want to, identify those. So I'm going to find it at that intersection going straight up. Okay. And then I have to hit enter, go back in, intersection, straight up. And then the same thing here, intersection, straight up, and enter to end the command, and then repeat it. And then we're going to do a construction line horizontally, just up here randomly. I'm going to do it right about there, horizontally, so that's kind of our center plane, if you would, to do our offsets back and forth to center everything. Now you could do a miter line here if you wanted to. I'm not going to. I think it's just kind of easier to construct it. Okay. All right, so now let's start with the tube side. We know that that's 1 inch wide, right? So I'm going to go 1/2 inch on either side here as my offset. So I'm going to go 0.5, and I'm going to start in the middle, go up, middle, go back. And now that's going to be the width of my tube. So I am going to simply draw it. Oops, I'm not going to draw it on my construction layer. I'm going to draw it on my object line layer. And I'm just going to start in the back there and go all the way around my tube. And then I'm going to add those hidden lines right away, because I just like to be done with it. Like, then I don't have to go back and worry about it. And then enter to repeat, and then go here and here. Center lines I always do at the very end. So because sometimes I want them the width of a larger feature. So I just do those at the end. That's there. Now our little handle in between here, let's look back. A little handle in between there, its width is 1/2 inch. So that's going to be an offset on either side in the top view of 1/4 inch. So I'm going to go back to offset 0.25, and we're going to start here and go up, and here and go down. I'm going to go to my object layer. Then we're just going to do a line here, and I'm just going to go kind of like past that line a little bit, and I'm going to go to nearest right about there. I know I'm going to end up trimming it off, and that's okay. Line, but I know I'm going from this intersection and then right about there. Okay. Or I might extend it. Now I'm looking at it, I might extend it actually, but I just want it over there. I don't know exactly where it's going to end, but I just want them over there. And then I'm going to do my offsets for these recesses on the way in, as long as I'm right here on the handle. So I'm going to do an offset, and it's going to be 0.125, 1/8 inch is that recess. And I'm going to grab the construction line, not the object line. So I'm going to do my construction line in 1/8, construction line down 1/8. Oopsie, I think it went the wrong way. Down 1/8. There we go. Okay. And then we're simply going to go from the quadrants here. So I need to do a construction line again. So I can get my endpoint right here up, and another construction line straight up. Okay. So then I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to go to my hidden line, and I'm going to start by that corner here, up, over, and down. And then enter again the line command, up, down, intersection, and back up. Oh my goodness, it's 11:15. Where did the time go? Holy cow. That's all right. Now, this part over here. All right. We know that this part is 1 inch wide, right? So we're gonna translate those up to be 1 inch wide. So, and again, we might be trimming back, that's okay. So we are going to, this is our inch wide out here and out here. So we need to take a line, and I'm just gonna make a block. Oops, I'm on my hidden line layer. That's okay. I'm gonna draw this hidden, and then I'm gonna actually change it so you can see what it looks like, okay? Now, I went to the wrong place. Delete. I wanna go back to this quadrant right here. I want this to go straight up. So I need a construction line going straight up. I'm gonna change those line types, don't worry. Actually, it was good that it happened because then you can see it. There we go, there's that one. So I am going to now, I'm going to grab this line and this line. I need to delete them because they need to go further. And then I'm gonna grab this line and put it on the object line layer. So it's on the right line. So all you do is grab it and you change it. And then you need to change to your right. And then I'm gonna click, I'm gonna go all the way back. I gotta go all the way back to this point right here, okay? And I'm just gonna go straight across for right now and then go here. I will be trimming some things away, so don't worry. All right. Now I'm gonna draw this right here. So if you recall, this width right here was the width of our arc over the top, which was a radius of 0.25. So that means that this line right here is a half inch wide from side to side. So this is the same width as what I need there. So looking at the top here, I'm going to go straight back to this line for that feature. I don't know how to say it. So we're going to go line here, back to this line right here, in line, remember, orthographic projection, and then here, and then there. And that's it. Now, these two lines are going to extend to there. So what we're going to do is we are going to do a extend function. Now, we've done trim quite a bit, but trim and extend go together. Trim is when we trim off something that's extended beyond a feature to trim it back. Extend is, oh, I want this to go further. I guess obvious, right? So we want to go down to extend, and we're going to click on that line right there. And we're going to click it once, but then we're going to click it twice. We're going to click it 3 times to extend to where we want it to go, all the way in. So again, click once, and this is just because there's extra lines in between, especially with the construction lines, and that's there. Now, you'll notice that those outside radiuses, okay, they stop at that face, okay? So we are going to trim away the portion in between here, okay? So we're going to go back to the trim command. So extend is on top right now. We have to go back to trim. So arrow down and click on trim. And we're going to get rid of this, this, and that. Okay. Because those radiuses come out there. And then we need just one more line. And that's going to be the line that is this edge right here going in between. Okay. So I'm on my object line and I just need to grab line and line. Okay. Getting close. Let's do a quick save. I'm going to do a quick save just because. All right. Now we do need to put our little lines here for our hole. What we can do is, I think to make it easier, let's copy the 3 lines here, my 2 hidden lines and my center line for my hole, and we're going to copy it up to the top here because it's already done. So I'm going to click copy, and I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to grab the hidden line, the center line, and the hidden line. And I'm going to zoom back out and pan down. And I'm just going to hit enter because I wanted those 3 selected. And now it wants to go from my base point. I'm just going to start with this intersection down here. And I'm going to go to that middle point right on the top. So I'm going to do shift, and I'm going to make sure I hit that same intersection in the middle right here. There we go. Escape. And now it's there. Okay. Now this, when we look down, is in line with the other one. So we only show it once. just gonna look here. Yeah, we have all the features in place now. Unless I'm forgetting something. Does anybody know? I know I need to do center lines, but features wise, hidden and the others. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my construction line layer because sometimes it's easier to look at when they're not there. And look, that looks amazing. Okay. The last thing, and I'm going to let you guys finish this up on your own, center lines. Okay. The last thing is center lines. So make sure that you're on your center line layer. Okay. And then what you're going to be doing is if they are already in as circles, you can add them as a center mark, remember? So a center mark like for the largest diameter here on my, on that side. I can do it as well here for the center line there. And the center lines for the outsides of those little radiuses, okay? Center line is going to be for when I want to have them on the inside of something that's already, the spacing is the same. So in the rectangular view, if you would, of the circle for here and here, I can put that center line in, all right? So I'll let you kind of finish up if there's any additional center lines here. There are a couple more that you want to add, but that is the connecting rod. Okay, so I'm going to do one last save on mine. I'm going to see if there's any questions. Gosh, we're right up against. Any questions? How about online? Any questions? Yeah, you got your money's worth today. Okay, so I'm gonna stop recording for a moment. Don't go anywhere just yet. I'm just gonna a couple things I want to say before you leave. So stop.